I mean, I hate to say this because it gives us fodder to talk about, and it's fun to see. I mean, last night I was fired up. Okay, who's going to be 1? Who's going to be 2, 3, 4? But ultimately, it doesn't matter. I hate to say it, but it just doesn't. Because here are the opening rankings ever in the college football playoff. Number 1, well, let me first give you this. Out of the top 4 in the first ever playoff rankings, there were 3 SEC teams, none of which were Alabama. Number 1 was Mississippi State. Number 2 was Florida State. Number 3 was Auburn. Number 4 was Ole Miss. This was October 28th, 3 years ago. When we got to the college football playoff, only one of those 3 made the playoff, and it was none of the SEC teams. Your college football playoff in 2014 was Alabama 1, Oregon 2, Florida State 3, Ohio State 4. Do you know where those teams sat in the opening rankings of 2014? Alabama was 6. Oregon was 5. Ohio State was 16. So you're going to hear a lot of noise today about a team that's far down in the list at 9 or 10 or 11 or 12 or 13, 14, 15, 16 has no chance. Simply not true. It's simply not true. What history tells us is anybody in the top 15 or 16 has a chance. Now, they need some help, as Ohio State did in 2014. But Ohio State basically just took care of its own business. At that point in time, Ohio State was 6-1, and it rattled off all the wins they needed, a Big Ten championship, got into the college football playoff, and the rest is history. Fact is, yesterday's rankings are not wrong because they're not right either. I mean, it's just a thing. It's just a list. There's so much more football to be played. Now, obviously, teams that are undefeated like Alabama and Georgia control their own destiny. If they finish undefeated, they're clearly going to be in the college football playoff. And the teams with the 1 losses, they have to hope for some help, run the table, win the rest of their games, and cross their fingers a little bit. But we didn't need the college football playoff to tell us that, you know? So yesterday, Georgia being ahead of Alabama. It's interesting. But if these 2 teams remain undefeated and play in the SEC title game, it doesn't matter. Whoever then wins that SEC title game is clearly going to be the number 1 seed in the playoff. Is it slightly interesting Georgia's ahead of Alabama? Sure, but that's on virtue of Georgia having beaten Notre Dame. And Notre Dame is 3 in this scenario. Now, I still don't believe that Notre Dame is absolutely in the college football playoff if they run the table. I know that is a very common refrain. I don't believe that's guaranteed. It got easier. It became clearer, the clearer path for Notre Dame once we had 2 undefeateds last weekend lose. But if Notre Dame wins out and goes 11-1, they still have to wait and see what a 1-loss ACC champ looks like Clemson, and a 1-loss Big Ten champion looks like, maybe Penn State, probably Ohio State or Wisconsin. Perhaps Wisconsin wins the whole shebang undefeated, and they would jump ahead of Notre Dame, which I think they would, being an undefeated winner out of a power conference, knowing that they had a championship game that perhaps was over Ohio State, and that would really help boost their stock. We'd have to see what it looks like after a 1-loss Pac-12 champion like Washington. Now, let's face it. Washington's not getting any love here because the Pac-12's not getting any love. So perhaps a 1-loss Washington team doesn't hop Notre Dame. But it's going to be a conversation. Certainly a 1-loss Clemson or an undefeated Miami or a 1-loss Ohio State or undefeated Wisconsin or a 1-loss Washington are all going to be in the conversation of those spots, and Notre Dame would be in that conversation as well. So, no, I don't believe it's guaranteed that Notre Dame gets in even if they go 11-1. And everybody keeps telling me it is. I'm still telling you it is not guaranteed.